through all the bills, and you can see them on the supplement. And PCD's report, and basically we made less than 1% on our investments. Otherwise, everything's pretty much the same. So I go ahead and move the accept the treasury report, board order 681.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Rob?
We had our special meeting on October 17, 2016. We interviewed 5 firms for do a search for a water master engineer. And all were very good. Had a vote, chose one of them, 5 vote. Good discussion. It's going well. So next meeting we will have a contract presented to us. Hopefully we can approve it at that time. We can go for the selection of our water master engineer. Very good. Also had a discussion about seeing that the search firm may be able to choose the attorney. And there's going to be some discussions about that. We want to kick off choosing our board attorney as soon as possible. So that discussion is happening.
Any questions?
I guess I have one. I don't know if it's appropriate or not. Came up with the state water contractors meeting, and it's still working. When do the producers get billed for this stuff? Because their impression, their attorney has that it started in 2016. So they should be actually billed for 2016. We're almost getting to 2017. Don't want to double bill people. So, you know, cash flow issues when do the bills go out? I mean, has the committee,
Hasn't even come up. There's been some general discussion about that, but nothing specific we wanted to push through. The 2 issues that we face, who's going to do our administration, that's where that's resolved. We couldn't get 5-0 vote on that. And then the second is water master engineer attorney. And those are the issues we wanted to take on and get pushed ahead. We imagine doing our billing should be increasing.
well, just if you're going to sign a contract, there's another who's paying for the money issue out there. So, okay, thank you.
Item 6C, Water Conservation Committee. Committee Chairman Weisenberger.
The committee met last Friday and we went over the final schedule for the expo. We have our speakers set up. We have our schedule set up. What we are still always looking for, we'll take up to the morning of the event, is exhibitors. So if you know somebody, contractors, landscapers, whatever, that might like to participate, that's what we like. So we're always looking for more exhibitors. That's all we got.
Any questions? Yes, Ken.
Director Paris is being overly humble. The Watermaster Board also elected him the first president of the AV Watermaster, unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Item 8A, bills payable. Consideration and possible action for the period of October 1st, 2016 to October 15th, 2016, and second.
We're going to cover C1 through C5 first, and then talk a little bit about our operations center expansion in next week's schedule. First, I want to thank Mr. Barnes. He puts together a nice presentation. You got a really old picture up there from some of the neat with graphics in those days. You had to actually build them. For the State Water project at Edmonston. I think some of the directors have been to Edmonston and seen that that facility is pretty impressive, and I think this was part of that dedication. Anyway, water supply is still at 60%. That will go through January 1st, where essentially that begins our new allocation year. We'll get our first initial allocation number on December 1st. So usually right around Thanksgiving, we get some kind of inkling of what it's going to be. My expectation, it'll probably be at least 15% and could be maybe as high as 35 for initial. Just depends on how
at least what?
at least 15% allocation initial, and
15?
15 at least. It won't be any lower than that, and possibly as high as 35. So that's my
That 60% you're just talking about this year?
That's for this year. As far as carryover numbers, which means water that will actually go unused but will follow us through the project in the next year, we're looking at somewhere between 20 and 25,000.
Isn't the up north? Isn't it normal up north? The rainfall?
It's actually way above normal right now. But we're talking, the water year starts at October 1st. Hydrologically, the project operates on October 1st to September 30th schedule. So when they start adding water, that's...
If it's way above normal, that's where our water's generated, why would it go down to 15? I mean,
well,
what's the rationale?
I'll show you why it's not too much of a worry. This time of year, we normally don't have really much in the way of any rainfall. So you'll see how much rainfall we've had, and it's not too much right now. So Oroville is at 72% of average, and San Luis down to about 49%. Again, another great picture at the dedication there. You can see then Governor Reagan up there. And the facility doesn't look any different now. It still looks almost exactly like that right now. So like we alluded to, it's at 302% of average, but we're talking only 3 weeks into the water year. That's only a little over 7 inches of rain that we've had up there. There is some more coming. I've looked at Oroville's forecast. The next 7 days, we're expecting 5 days of rain there. And precipitation is good, especially when reservoirs are empty. But we'd really like to get snowpack, and that's not going to come until after the first of the year. I'll show you something real quick on the next graph right here. So this shows our precip, and you can see this little tiny blue line down here in the corner. This is where we are right now, and you can see the average is down here, so that's why that number is so large. But if you look, here's January 1st, in an average year, the amount of rain we get is this area that's under that curve. It's pretty small. So after January 1st, we get really most of the precipitation. This is all the rain we typically get in the project is after January 1st. So, but there's nothing wrong with getting a good start. And George, we'll see. Maybe we'll go higher. Maybe it'll be 30 or 35%, and that would be great. I'll try to get an inkling from Dan here.
Good as sure be super cautious and it's really not based on too much at this point.
Right, it's a very small amount of rain, but there's nothing wrong with an early start. So far about a little over 7 inches of rain in the project, in the watershed area, state water project. In the forecast here, let's see. So this is for last week, observed about 4.5, and for a total 10-day total 6.7 inches, which is 542% of normal. Again, great, but it still represents a relatively small amount of precip in the overall picture. Got over 50 inches last year. So.
Question, are they on the bottom where it says accumulated observed?
Right.
Right there.
Water year 2017.
Is it? Oh, I thought it was compared to Wyoming.
Right. Again, you've seen this graph showing Oroville and San Luis being relatively low. And that's a byproduct of being unable to pump really into the project this year.
Well, that pump, the governor released 1 million acre feet
Yeah.
of water in the ocean for 2 stupid fish. That's the honest to God truth.
And I saw things saying that San Joaquin is going to be flowing year round for the first time. And that also brings water penalties as well.
Maybe he does it again next year, doesn't matter. I mean, just go ahead and just release it all.
Well, we don't want to do that, but yeah, definitely is concerning. And then this is the storage levels in the typical year. You can see right here is where we are. This is a little bit misleading because the way things were done, this shows a dry year, 76 and 77. We don't fill reservoirs the way we used to in the project. Through Monterey and other negotiations, the contractors asked that the DWR allow the contractors input into how much water they put in storage, that we can, you know, ask for water to be released when we need it, and then, you know, get a head start on storage if we feel we need to have a head start on storage. So that's why these amounts you can see here kind of jump around, why they're so much different. So I would say this is definitely a good starting number, and that will definitely help with a higher allocation number to start with. San Luis showing the Fed and also DWR share that's been increasing. It's seen a small decline, and essentially because water is still being used and not being replaced there. See this graph a few months ago, and this alludes to what Director Donato was talking about. You can see in 2014, this shows lost water over the last 3 years. This shows 2016 specifically, with 2014 about 65,000 acre feet, went to 250,000 in 2015, and about almost 1 million acre feet in 2016 to date. And that's a draft number. This is the water we actually took in here, the amount of pumping that we were able to do. This was what could have been done, but for the BIOPS. And so these green areas show what the biological opinions cost the project in water.
You said that's a draft number. What do you mean?
It's a draft number. They usually are making, some of this is estimates, so they'll have a final number toward the end of the year.
It's a lot more than that.
And it'll exceed 1 million, I'm sure. They're thinking it's 990, it's going to be over 1 million. And then this graph also is kind of interesting. I think William showed this to you a few months back. He wanted this for you guys to see this again. Showing kind of what water would be available in the project and what we're actually using. And then again, the effect of diversion. So, you can see what they're saying here is essentially, if with California Water Fix you get some additional water in, but if you compare that to what actually physically is in the project or available, if it wasn't for the regulations that we're forced to deal with, it's a huge difference in the amount of water that actually is there. So, not a happy story, that's for sure. Not probably what was envisioned when the project was built. That's where we are now. So California Water Fix expected, if it was in place, they had expected in 2016 that would have helped us with about 460,000 acre feet. As far as operations, Quartz Hill currently at 16 MGD, Rosamond at 4, and East Side at 2. Acton, very small amount, about half an MGD. You can see that it is up from last year. We're probably going to be somewhere around 25% up as far as water sales this year. And that's without banking or anything like that, or exchanges. That's just the physical demands that we have on the system. People are returning.
You know what that compares to 4 or 5 years ago?
It is still down from 4 or 5, absolutely. So like say 2013, we probably did 45,000 acre feet, and this year will be about 38,000.
It'll probably, at least with the same population, will probably always remain down. People change the landscape, yards go.
Definitely.
It'll increase as population grows, but.
Yeah, I was talking to the rate consultant this week, and he said most agencies are seeing about 10% increases, and I told him, well, we see about 25%. But part of that is water quality efforts that the county is making. They've got some Chrome 6 problems with their wells, and they're taking more water because of that. And those regulations came into play last year. So 25% is kind of a mixed number between also people using more water and the county needing more water for the plant. Essentially relying on themselves.
Have they started drilling new wells yet?
Last wells I know that they were involved with that I can think of was one they did at their office in Lancaster. They drilled a well there at their site, at their headquarters. Again, talking a little bit about banking operations. Westside Water Bank, we're delivering about 6.5 MGD to the county right now. That's recovery operations. And then recharge, we are recharging. We resumed that last week. We're roughly about 6 to 8 feet a day. We're getting about 1.5 feet of infiltration every day. It's lower than we'd like to see, but it's early. We did some things to help prepare for that before we start recharging. So hopefully we'll see that pick up a little bit. And then, you know, also with the idea of seeing where the settlement issue goes. We should have some measuring going on out there by Kenny Jenks in the next 3 weeks or so. aveIt, we're running aveIt right now, about 3 MGD right now to the county.
But you need to go back. We're telling them that one of the reasons we're doing this is to address the issue with the cracking and stuff, so we can, so we can get a better idea if there's any more that's going to continue on.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, we should see some of that. It took about 3 or 4 weeks for it to start. If there's anything going to happen early, it'll be in the next 3 weeks or so. But we'll continue through the winter time. Water quality, we're looking at really good wintertime water quality. You know, we get the flows in the project go down considerably, but the temperature does too, and that always helps with algae and other things like that. And you know, getting ready for our winter maintenance, we're going to take THM samples here in the beginning of December, second week of December, and so should have those results by the end of the year. So we're at, and we've typically been doing very well, as you know, with our DEP controls. So. Again, I think you know about Smart Landscaping Expo that's coming up from the 5th from 8:30 to 3. And General Manager is in Boston this week. Any questions on any of that?
Is he in Boston on vacation or was he?
He's back there for a seminar on negotiations.
Was he used for what?
Advanced negotiation seminar at Harvard.
So along those lines, when we'll be back on Monday, we have a strategic planning committee meeting at 9 a.m. on Monday. And then water projects next week at 6 p.m. on Thursday. 6 p.m. Thursday. We'll talk a little bit about the results of our bidding. Ben will be here to talk about the bidding results from our exploratory well project out on the far west side. Which that's a prelude to the walls starting to go up. They're still running behind. They're claiming about 3 weeks behind right now. I think it's probably more than that. We did send them a letter voicing our concerns on that, and that they're subject to liquidated damages in this particular project, and that they need to be mindful of keeping the project on track. Additionally, the septic system, they've been working on the new septic system. It's nearly complete. Expecting to tie that into the building here tomorrow morning. So that's good news. That portion of the project is not a critical task, but it's something that needs to be done as part of the project. Any questions on the?
Everything's all concrete, correct?
What's that?
All concrete?
Concrete, yeah, footings and so forth are concrete.
No, the septics.
Concrete base, right? 6,000.
Any more questions for Mike?
The Water Education Foundation, so it's a great tour. We visited some of the reservoirs, saw Mount Shasta, Shasta Dam, Orville Dam, the Orville Reservoir. I didn't realize that Orville Dam is mostly dirt. You know, it's a lot of natural materials there and not much concrete at all. And got to visit a lot of the water districts up there, some of the farmers, rice farmers. He was very educational. I learned a lot. I recommend it. We started at the Sacramento Airport and went north as far as Reading. So you can see, you know, the state water project at the northern part where it starts off. It's good.
You didn't tell me you're from AVEK, right?
Yeah.
You're there to take their water?
Yeah, You know, they gave us a presentation on the Sites Reservoir, trying to tell us why it would benefit, you know, the entire state.
Yeah.
And I guess when it starts off better, that's their spiel. If it starts off better, then by the time it gets to us, you know, it's a better condition, better programs, better for the system. But yeah, I really recommend it.
Did they take you to the main farming in Shasta County?
Which farm?
The main farming
Yeah.
in Shasta, you know what it is? It's marijuana now.
Oh, is it?
It's legal.
That I-
It's legal up there, so that's another crop now.
It was mostly rice farm.
The ones you can see.
Right.
Thank you, Merle. George, you got Frank? John?
I would just like to commend Martin on his conference, that Water Education Foundation tour that he took is, what, 3 or 4 days?
Yes.
It's very educational and it's very grueling at the same time.
Yeah.
They keep you busy the
It's
entire
hard, you
time.
know,
Yeah,
full day.
yeah, it is worth it.
Yeah, it is.
Neil? Thank you. Item 10, attorney's report, please.